Ministry of Culture keep the big show with one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su. Oh, Su.
Yeah, my name is Jasity Kaldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Over to You, a show for the people, by the people. I hope that everyone is doing well. This Saturday afternoon, the 19th day of July 2025. What are we? Some 43, 44 days away from general and regional elections in Guyana. So these are critical times, and every show is important as we get closer and closer to the general and regional elections in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, you know this is your show, this is your investment. I will allow you guys the latitude of approximately 1 to 2 minutes to go ahead, like the program, share the link. Over to you, a show for the people, by the people. Welcome, freedom fighters, welcome. We have a few things that we're going to discuss tonight, for sure. We're not going to be short on topics at all. There's so much to talk about. But I'll give you the time to share and like. And in the interim, I am going to go ahead and do our roll call that we normally do every Saturday right here. Paula Mattis Peters, a pleasant good evening. Welcome to Over to You. Beatrice Shelby, welcome to Over to You. Charlene A. Moses, welcome, welcome, Charlene. Mary Figueroa, Canada is in the house. Welcome. Althea Jones, Trey J, welcome. Sharma E. Grant, Melville, welcome. Sharma. Darkus John, Susan London, welcome. Eva, it's always a pleasure having you. Matthew Dennison, Harlem is in the house. Harlem, New York is in the house. Lawrence J. James, welcome. Miss Brenda Braithwaite, how are you doing this pleasant Saturday? I hope all is well with you. A pleasant good evening to you. Yvonne Walford, good evening. Sharon Griffith, Miss Vashti Magnot, a pleasant good evening to you. Yvonne Rodriguez, Jason McDonald, welcome, welcome to the program. Good evening to you. Fidel Albert, good to see you, Miss Albert. Good evening. Paula Hawk Kippins, good evening. Nikki Richmond, good evening. Kennedy Flormont, yes, Maryland is in the house. Good evening. Shell Peter Richardson, welcome. Brenda Bailey, welcome. Rosie Rose Jeff, Bossman Go Live, a pleasant good evening to you, sir. Welcome to the program. It's great to have you here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we were hoping that the show would have been started a little later tonight because we would have been pulling in the Bartica rally, but we haven't gotten any live link to that rally. So therefore, the programming has to continue here. Brenda Bailey, welcome, on Bench Up Radio, 107.1 FM. So I welcome each and every one of you to Over to You this evening. Well, where do I start? there's a couple of places that I can start. I can start off by saying condolences to the family of Desiree Hyman Jacobs, the resident of Mocha that was gunned down execution style right in front of our little boutique, our place of business. Okay, we want to say um our deepest condolences and our deepest sympathies here from Benchop Radio 107.1 FM to that family. Okay, it was sad. Two gentlemen on a motorcycle. Okay, they had on work helmets, and apparently they had on hats underneath the helmet. They had on their masks, and they just went there and they executed her. I think 6 shots. You know, that paint the picture, brothers and sisters. When you see a person doing their normal day to day, right? We already know that it's so difficult to find jobs in Guyana. So a lot of Guyanese find themselves creating their own employment. All right. And when you would have done that and you working innocently, and your life is just snuffed out just like that. I mean, if they wanted to rob, or they could have just robbed or take what they had to take and leave. But I don't know if it is that she said something to them or what. But even if somebody says something to you, you're robbing them. What do you expect? You know, you're gonna just execute her. It just shows, and I talk about the education levels in Guyana with some of these people, the dunceness. You know, you just take our life. Like, if you can easily give life, you take our life. Right? Look, ladies and gentlemen, these are the type of things. Come, show me, guys. I tell you guys, send me information where you see these kind of crimes happening when the coalition was in power 2015 to 2020. Show me. Show me where the Guyanese society was this evil. This thing is horrible every single week. Every single week. And then what after? You have a PPPC dictatorship government that comes to the electorate and beg them, give us 5 years, give us another 5 years. Why? Why? For what? What have you accomplished in the first 5 that I should give you another 5 years? What have you accomplished? A young 22-year-old, 21-year-old angel passing away at the Diamond Hospital because of lack of oxygen? You got to be joking. You really have to be joking. Lack of oxygen. So, Mr. Norton and the incoming government, I say this to you guys. Please make sure at the Diamond Hospital, yes, in that young lady's name, and the Georgetown Hospital, and probably if you can do it in all hospitals, have a small unit specialized for asthma. People should not be dying from lack of oxygen. What world are we living in? It shows how far below standards Guyana is. You talk about having big sophisticated hospitals like Sheriff and these hospitals. Nobody could have went over there with a tank of oxygen, or is it because that young lady is a young woman, voting age, of African descent? I have to take these positions. I have to take these positions based on the way the government operates in Guyana. I have to take these positions. You said that Sheriff has a new sophisticated hospital. What happened? You're telling me that the family has to have the necessary money to give her that treatment just to keep her alive? Ladies and gentlemen, if we continue down this road, each and every one of us is going to be fighting for oxygen tank to keep ourselves alive. This is where this world is going. This is where this world is going. And you want to sit down and we want to say that man is not barbaric? Oh man is barbaric. and a step so far away from the Almighty. Barry Jagdeo said it when we had the COVID outbreak. What did he say? There's nothing that we can do. People are going to die. Tell me where I come across telling my people, creating fear in them that people are going to die. People should not be dying. Let's die from old age. Every week, there's 3 to 4 smash ups in Guyana. Sometimes 6 or 7. And sometimes you got 5, 6, 7, 8 people dead in 1 week in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. A state that would have lost its way. A state that the level of lawlessness is immeasurable. But yet, the PPP is requesting 5 more years. 5 more years of blood, death, and carnage? I beg to differ, and I hope the Guyanese people are lined up with me on this. This must stop. This must stop. To the family of that young woman that would have passed away at the Diamond Hospital. My deepest condolences. I am so sorry. Okay? And this is a total failure, not on the part of the hospital, on the part of government. Okay? Because we're not improving our healthcare infrastructure in Guyana. We're just not improving it. And we need to get better. And I hope with a new government, I hope that, the government that is sitting, the incoming government that is sitting and seeing all of these things, I hope that they're taking their notes and understand where the changes must be made. Because these changes must be made. We had a situation some 5, 6 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, where we had a lot of women dying in child's birth in Guyana. Where do you hear of that? So it just shows you. Under the PPP, yes, it was under the PPP. Women dying in child's birth. I think they had a few teachers that happened to. Young teachers, that was sad. But Guyanese, listen. I want you guys to listen to me carefully on this part. The PPP has made a strong attempt to make you guys immune when it comes to death. Okay? Death is very close to a joke in Guyana these days. We got to pivot from that, man. Life is the most precious thing that one can have. Before you can do anything, you must first have life. You must first have health. Okay? That's not something to play with. I see people dying in Guyana like wildfire. And all I see in the comments is rest in peace. No, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. No. Not good enough. Well, guys, we have to think. We have to think. It is expected that all of us have a certain level of morality. Where are our morals? We cannot allow these terrorists to take away our morals, man. Let's remain grounded. We cannot allow it. People are dying and a president is on the stage gyrating himself. And then you know what people are saying, oh my God, there's the best president. Look at him playing domino. No. Guys, no. Playing domino. First of all, my people could not be dying like that and I'm playing domino. No, 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 no. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. All right? Unacceptable. But here, these guys are transactional in nature. The PPP is a transactional government. Human capital is not something that they care about. Okay? It is a very self centered government. All right? Everything tracks back to the PPP and their inner circle. All right? Thank you, Norman Kingston. The Bible said, live life and live it more abundantly. Well said, my brother. Thank you for that, for quoting the Bible there. And when we talk about living life, I'm going to just expand on what this brother say. When we talk about living life abundantly, we don't want the average age of young Guyanese to be 30. You understand me? We do not want the average age of young Guyanese to be 30 years old. Because we have so many. Look, guys, look what happened in Buxton. Look at the carnage in Buxton. Right? Look at the carnage in Buxton. Now, what's happening? What's happening? And the government has nothing to say about this. The Guyana police force and Clifton Hicken is quoted as saying crime is down. Guys, show me. Make it make sense. Where is crime down? Where is crime down? We cannot sit down and accept these lies. Yes, it is lies. It is all lies. It is all an attempt to, it is all deception. And we as Guyanese, we cannot sit down and accept this. The fabric of our country is being torn away. All right? And I'm saying this. Are the people on the ground getting it? I believe so. But brothers and sisters, I believe we still have to keep talking. We still have to keep talking. You know, I was watching a little piece with this guy, this gentleman that's on the AFC, I mean on the APNU list, Ronald Daniels. I believe it was Ronald Daniels. I'm just about 95% sure it was Ronald Daniels. Having a conversation with a few young men in a yard. I couldn't hear it, but I was looking at it. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I didn't hear the conversation. I just looked at the body language of those young people, and it was concerning. Let me tell you guys, we have a lot of work to do in Guyana with our young people. A lot. The PPP has taken these young people to sea. I spoke to a young man a little before this show. And he told me, he said, Wayne, we already had green and now we have red. We got to go in another direction. That's lack thereof of knowledge. That's lack of knowledge. You had green. Okay? Look at what that coalition government would have addressed 2015 through 2020. Consistent light. You had that. I don't need people to tell me that we weren't having blackouts between 2015 and 2020. We weren't having much blackouts. No one need to give me those statistics. Okay, I was in Guyana around 3 times in that period of time. Okay, so I know what I experienced. All right, I was in Guyana in 2012 when the PPP was in government, and I know what I experienced when it comes to blackout. Okay, so nobody needs to give me that type of information. Thank you, Andrea Jackman, for clarifying it was Ronald Daniels. Yeah. But back to the posture of those young men. Some of them is like they didn't want to hear what he had to say, and stuff. But they sat there for the most part. They sat there. But what I want to say to all young people, you understand me, is that, when you sit down and you believe that you are bad and you don't have to listen to anyone and these type of things, look, trust me, I'm telling you this, you're not bad. Okay? You're not bad. We would have all on this program been kids before, been young people before. All right? What people are trying to tell you, right, to the extent there's a new government, you can't sit underneath a bottom house and wait for somebody to call you and probably put a gun in your hand and tell you to go and do this or tell you to go and do that. Let's not forget, brothers and sisters, what happened on Hatfield Street when that little 16-year-old went into that Chinese to rob, and he was literally blasted away by that security. Okay? He was blasted away. I'm not blaming the security for anything. It was a robbery in progress. Okay? And when you do that, you get exactly what you're looking for. Nobody can save you in that case because they don't know what you have. Okay, so you are going to be blasted. So it's either you want to be blasted by a gun, okay, or you want to get it right. Start going to school. Start trying to do something honestly for yourself. Because staying on the bottom house, smoking and these kind of things and waiting for something to happen, it's just not going to happen. I have seen many like you before. A lot of them have come and a lot of them have died already. So, how do you start to get your life together? You first come out and you vote. For example, look at your young colleague. I could say colleague because somebody that is young, just like a lot of you guys. That young man that died in the whole shooting in Buxton. Look at that. Life snuffed out at 16? Really? Come on. Where are we going? You guys are just barbaric. You young people, the first thing that you want to get in your hand, you young men in particular I'm talking about, is a gun. Why? What has conditioned you that way? You don't have any respect whatsoever for your parents? I'll share something quickly here. One of the reasons I went ahead and got the highest level of education, man, is because of my mother. I saw the way she worked. And I wanted to reward her for the sacrifices that she have made. Some of you guys must look at your parents, because some of you guys are the way you are because your parents a lot of time have to work 2 and 3 jobs to bring in hen's meat, to make sure that they can be a plate of food on the table 3 times whatever per day. Cost of living is through the roof in Guyana. Do you guys ever look into these type of things? We can sit down and we can talk about the system being designed to undermine Guyanese of African descent. But at the same time, what are we going to do? Just allow the system to undermine us? No, we got to stand up. And part of that standing up comes on September 1st. What are you going to do? Wait on that bottom house? And if you are of the voting age, you're going to wait to collect a little $200,000 and just go and throw away your vote. $200,000 is not going to sustain you for your life. You think that you're going to do what Jack Dio says, start up a little business? What we going to have? 100% of Guyanese having small businesses? That is what we're going to have? Everybody have a business? Well, how is that going to work? How is that going to work? We got to get serious, right? We got to understand as Guyanese that the PPP is taking advantage of us. Where have I started seeing that understanding? Well, I saw that understanding last night in Bartico. Or is it last night? Is either last night or Thursday night in Bartico, where the PPPC had a rally. And in attendance was 25 human beings, 2 dogs, a total of 27. And then the views was 32 views. That's how it needs to be. Who was the speaker? Vikram Bharat, the minister in charge of oil and gas. Okay? The minister that is making a mess of Guyana's sovereign wealth. Your wealth, Guyanese, the total mismanagement of the oil and gas industry. Yes, that Vikram Bharat. Yes, I'm Vikram Bharat, I'm saying that. The oil and gas industry lacks transparency. The oil and gas industry is not compliant with the Guyanese people. They are not compliant when it comes to giving information to the Guyanese people. Susan Taylor, what's not true? There was 25 people there, 2 dogs, and the views was at 32. Okay, when I got the information. I don't know if it went from 25 to 55 or what. But if you know it was bigger, then you could send a larger crowd. Maybe newsroom might have take it and Photoshop it and make it look a little better. But I can say one thing. Okay? The PPP does not have the attention of the Guyanese people in a positive way. They do not. Okay? And the rigging mechanism will not and should not work. So to all the observers, let me get into this one time. To all the observers who are going to be observing elections 2025 in Guyana. Carter sent all of you guys. You guys observe in 2020. You guys left your instructions. You guys went back to your nations. You guys never checked back. The instructions you left, nothing was done. We're dealing with the same list. Okay? We have a list that is larger than the population of the nation. Okay? We have a list, right, that probably have almost 800,000 people. How is that possible? Make the math for me. Make the math for me. Yet you guys are back. And you guys gonna call the shots. But here, this time not long time. This time is not long time. You're not gonna walk into Guyana and tell the Guyanese people what government they're gonna put, what government you're gonna have in place to manage their affairs. Because you see, when you go back home to your country and you could put 5 or 6 meals in front of your children and send them to the best schools and educate them to the highest level and do just about anything that you want to do. You left the normal born and bred Guyanese to live like loppy dogs in their own country. Okay? You leave the normal Guyanese to live like loppy dogs in their own country, 53% of them in poverty. So what do you want me to say? Shame on the PPP government? No, shame on the PPP government and you. And you. Because you guys would have contributed to facilitating the installment of the PPP. Ambassadors. I know people gonna say, Wayne, this is not their job. But since they want to mess in our politics, nobody don't want to call these people up. Nobody don't want to say anything. These people are taboo, untouchable. No, they're not untouchable. They're human beings just like me and you. And they can make errors. I'm not going to look at another man like me and call him God. You got to be kidding me. Did any of them call the family of that woman that was gunned down in Mocha? Did any of them call the Adriana Young family? Let me say this. Let me be quite clear that these people cannot just sit down and say this is what Guyana is. No, 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 no. This is not what Guyana is. This is what Guyana was conditioned to be under the PPP. This is not what Guyana is. That is what it was conditioned to be. Lawless and violent. The PPPC has conditioned the Guyanese people to be immune to death. Every single Guyanese life matters. You could even be in the palms. Your life still matters. Let's step back, brothers and sisters, and grab our morals. Grab our morals, grab our values, and walk with it close to our hearts. Okay? We got to do better. We got to do better. What policies have the PPP put forth? What policies? Fidel Albert, when they will send ropes and Ben to her families home. Yes. Ropes and Ben, have you been checking off in your book how many trips you have made to the homes of fallen Guyanese? The young man Peters in Linden, Forgenet in Linden, recently this young man in Buxton, Adriana Young, now this woman in Mocha. It's sad. It's sad. And what makes it even worse, you watch the vice president at his press conference. And what is he talking about? Doggy. Doggy. Well, I'm going to say this, to hell with doggy. We got Guyanese losing their life. Okay? Let's deal with pressing issues. We don't have time for distractions. What Guyanese need to stop doing is tuning into nonsense. You're just taking yourselves lower and lower. Tune in on Mark Benchcamp. Tune in on Sherrod Duncan. Tune in on Kidaki Amsterdam. You don't necessarily have to tune in on my program because I'm the one calling you guys out. You don't have to. I'm not going to call you out and tell you come and join my program. No. But I want you to join programs where you're learning something. There's a high level of intellectual when it comes to the conversations. We are literally talking about the pressing issues that are affecting our country. There is no time for joke. Yes, Matthew Dennison. Dr. Paul Williams. Yes, you like him for Minister of Home Affairs. Well, to answer your statement, I do too. I do too. And for advice and oversight, Mr. Paul Slow, Mr. Conway, the Guyana Police Force needs reform. 100% reform. Okay? Some of the current officers, not all of them, we have good officers in the Guyana Police Force. Some of the current officers should be laid off and asked to reapply for their job and give proper explanations for their behaviors. when you look across social media. And Barry Jack, they don't know that there is no way that from a social media perspective, they can compete. They know that. So what they do, they use TikTok and they use all these little things to try to up their algorithms and stuff like that. Right? They use TikTok. They have Sheriff and Amir and Muhammad. I ain't gonna call their name much, but I'm just saying all these little infighting or all these things that is going on. Nonsense, Guyanese. Nonsense. Don't listen to that. Don't be a part of that. If those people want to fight and kill each other, let them do, because they're the people that have you living the way that you're living right now. Let the people go ahead and fight if they want to fight. You can't take somebody that was once part and parcel in the oppression of you, but that person sleep one night and get up on a certain side of the bed the next morning and decide that he or she wants to lead the same people that they've oppressed for years. Look, guys, let's spread the candidates out. Let's throw them across the table here now. Now, look at all the presidential candidates. Guys, let's be honest here. If you're going to choose one of them to speak for Guyana in front of the UN, who will you choose? Put it in the comments. Help me, guys. Help me. Please help me in the comments. If you are going to choose one of those presidential candidates to put in front of the UN to speak on behalf, let me tell you this before you all even start typing it in. Let me say this to you guys. APNU is so strong that, and Mr. Norton is so good, Comrade Norton is so good, that we could say, okay, Comrade Norton, allow the Prime Minister to speak before the UN, and she will go there and execute because she is smart and she's competent. Let's say the President and the Prime Minister is not available. The second Vice President, the Honorable Ganesh Maipal, former MP, that guy is brilliant. He will go up there and more than speak. Because you know when Ganesh get into action, what has happened? He will take you from A to Z. The guy is brilliant. So when you talk about the top of the ticket for APNU, and you ask me, Wayne Caesar, how confident are you in the top of the ticket? Extremely confident. Extremely confident. The top of the ticket is, look, Comrade Norton come off as a genius here with this top of the ticket that he has here. And yes, Miss Simon, hands down, Mr. Norton. The top of this ticket, what do I see when I look at the top of the APNU ticket? I see what I call ethnic parity. I see ethnic parity. When I look at the top of the APNU ticket, I see ethnic balance. When I look at the top of the APNU ticket, I see a ticket that is ethical, strategic, has a strong economic compass, brings along very strong values and morals in the fact that the whole vision of the party is based on human capital, meaning people. No, nobody should be able to go to an election and beat that. Nobody. Because when I have a government that is saying, hey, we're going to work for you, forget the PPP. The PPP cannot now say that they're going to work for the Guyanese people. Man, you guys had 5 years. You guys just start free university. You guys starve the Guyanese people for 4+ more years of free university. PPP, you guys are failures. I try to say it over and over. Y'all are failures. And listen, the APNO is not finished yet. Attorney General, oh my goodness. That position is going to be a very, very strong position. I can tell you guys that off the bat. I'm not going to tell you guys who it's going to be. I know who the candidates are. I'm not going to tell you who it's going to be. When it's announced, then I'll have that Attorney General candidate right here on Over to You on 107.1 Ben Chap Radio 107.1 FM. Hazel Johnson, yes. Yes, Miss Hazel Johnson. Justice for Adriana Young. I tell you this. We must not stop calling our name. Thank you for reminding me, Miss Johnson. We must not stop calling that 11-year-old Angel Young, Adriana Young name. We must call her name repeatedly until there is justice. Yeah, Clifton Aiken, you never had a press conference to discuss Adriana Young. It is total disrespect to that family. You never had a press conference. It's not even disrespect to the Adriana Young family alone, but it's disrespect to the Guyanese people at large. Not one press conference for that angel, that the tragedy of her death would not have just rocked Guyana, but it rocked the entire world. The American media, the Canadian media, all the media was in. To the incoming government, Zion Bond, you're stealing my thunder. I'll rest the case at that. To the incoming government, the FBI, Scotland Yard, even if we have to do a combination of them. Hey, look, brothers and sisters, a little bit of money may have to be spent, but here it is. This got to be done. All right? Because this is where we start to channel that shift. Okay? We need to start shifting away from these unsolved murders and crimes. Okay? We need to shift away from that. We need to start solving these. Somebody just posted up there. Wayne, don't forget the Henry boys also. Nicky Richmond, the Henry boys. Yeah, can't forget Isaiah and Joel and Harish. Look at those young lives. Just gone. Just gone. No satisfaction to the family. And let's change it around. Not just the three boys. Both of the boys, their mother would have died. Harish, grandmother, I heard would have died. And the last thing she called for is justice for the murder of her grandson. That's one of the last things she asked for. Okay? Courtney Crum Ewing. He is stuck up here. I'll never forget him. Ronald Waddle will not forget them. Donald Allison, I will not forget them. Or in Boston, we must not forget, although that Officer Peters has been sentenced to 25 years, I am still not satisfied. Again, I am asking the question, who is the higher up that would have given the orders to go ahead and execute or in Boston in his bed, and the reasons for that order. We want to know that. So if you ask me, this case is still open. It's the same thing with Quidnam Bacchus. I wanted to know who is in charge. I want to know who is in charge and who would have given the orders. And where are the other officers that their guns also went off? You guys heard what that vice president said this week. He promised that the PPP will open investigations into the killings in the 2000s. We're not satisfied with that. Let's go all the way to 1992 and come right up. Let's go all the way to let's all start in 2000, Jack Dio. No. No. Okay? You got your photos with Mark Kozorki, right? We all know Mark Kozorki used to operate the wine bar by day, and by night, he's a killer. He's a killer for the PPP. Okay? We all know these things. All right? We all know that you guys used to kill people, chop up their bodies, and send to a certain funeral home. And when people burying their normal family members, under the person have body parts of other people. Don't let's get started here, Barry Jagdio. Everything got to come to the forefront, because when the people go to vote, they got to know what they're voting for. September 1st, when Guyanese go to the poll, you have two choices. Two choices. You can vote for evil in the PPP, or you can vote for APNU, which represents people. And if you're a government that's going to represent people, you have to be representing good. So the choice is yours. The choice is yours. Barry Jagdio, our gloves are off. 43, 44 more days to elections. We ready. We are ready. Don't worry about all them little fightings and who ain't do tax evasion and who ain't got this and who ain't got that. Listen, right now, I don't have time with who got sanctions and who ain't got sanctions and all of that. What I want to see my Guyanese brothers and sisters do is stay focused and go and vote the PPP out. It's simple. The task is simple. You cannot feel sorry for the PPP right now. How can you? You cannot. The PPP were not sympathetic to you. So why should you be sympathetic to them? Many of you look and you say, oh, the $100,000. Excuse me? $100,000 in 5 years. $20,000 a year. $20,000 a year. You had 3 consecutive $1 trillion budget. $20,000 a year after 3 consecutive $1 trillion budgets. You want to ask where the money is going? Ask Jack Dio. And tell Jack Dio Lee, ask he boy Vic. What's happening with the oil money? Yeah, Jack Dio, Vic. You got to ask Vic what's going on in oil and gas. Ask Vic about all the stealing that you guys are stealing. Ask Vic about all the bad deals that you guys are making. And y'all are still taking out loan. Putting Guyana, in a very, very tough position. Putting the future of Guyana and the youths of tomorrow in a tough position. Let's hope that oil keep pumping, because that is the greatest thing that is bringing in the revenue right now. We're going to have a show that we're going to just deal with finances, where I'm going to talk about the tolls that they're planning to eliminate on the bridges. You don't eliminate tolls on the bridges. You pay people enough. You may want to cut the toll price in half, But there must be something paid to cross the bridges. You can't use the oil to subsidize maintaining bridges and everything in Guyana. How are you going to use the oil to do everything? You're using oil to subsidize Gaisuko. You're using oil to subsidize this. You're using oil to subsidize that. The natural resource fund don't even have nothing much in it. I sometimes ask the question, why have a natural resource fund if it's going to be empty? Why? We got to get better. We got to have better balanced budgets. We got to take care of education. We got to standardize all our school facilities, meaning in the interlands also. Young girls that have to live in schools should have proper showers to shower. They should not be going down at a creek and having to expose themselves. We should not still be having toilet pits or the outhouse, whatever you want to call it. Why? In this modern world, in the 21st century, Priya-Mani-chan, yeah, this is about you. You've been very weak. You know, I know you're going to use the results from the recent common entrance to try to say that you're doing a good job. No, you're not doing a good job. You know who's doing a good job? The underpaid teachers and the parents and the students. They're the ones who are doing a good job. All right? Because cost of living is through the roof in Guyana. And whenever y'all give out grants for back to school and these things, must take a walk down at the stores and check what has happened. Automatically, uniform prices just go up. Automatically. So, you guys as a government, you have not shown that you are able to manage the country. And that's a problem. I think that's the largest problem. You have not managed anything correctly in Guyana. The influx of Venezuelans into the country. You didn't vet them. You just let everybody in because what did you look? You look at it as an opportunity for us to get more PPP voters. Because with the last census that was taken, the results of that last census have Barry Jagdeo using the bathroom quite often. Has Barry Jagdeo using the bathroom quite often. There's more to come on Barry Jagdeo. He may faint away one of these Thursdays right before that camera. Because every time he come on, I can see that he's more and more worried. He is concerned, and rightfully so, because his government has done a real botch job on Guyana. Okay? They have ripped apart our values in Guyana. They have ripped apart our fabric that we so strongly as Guyanese use our fabric to represent our country worldwide. Many Guyanese say they walk with their heads down because they're ashamed. They're ashamed to call Irfan Ali their president. Shame. Calling Irfan Ali no doctor. Irfan Ali haven't shown me no legitimate diplomas to show me that he is a doctor. Okay? And then the other one, Dr. Jagdeo. I wanna turn quickly to our press. The press in Guyana must have freedom. The press must continue to be independent in both fact and appearance. I saw some excellent press work done on Monday by Gordon Mosley and Dennis Shrubrow. I saw some excellent press work done on Monday. And then what I saw after was quite disturbing. I saw individuals attacking or trying to attack Gordon Mosley. How can you? How can you? I'm going to tell you my personal, I love Gordon Mosley. my personal opinion, I think Gordon Mosley does an excellent job. Okay? He's very clear, concise, and I can see reasoning why Gordon Mosley was asked not to be at Barry Jagdeo's press conferences. This guy understands his work very, very well. It's like he sleeps and think about this stuff. His line of questioning is very, very strong. Listen, if I am ever on the ground and Gordon Mosley approaches me, I know it's going to be tough questions. But I ask myself the question, why should I be angry with him? I am out here in public as a public figure doing programs. So if Gordon Mosley is going to question me, he's going to have strong questions for me. He's going to ask me what I think, why, what's the reason for me thinking that. He's going to ask a lot of stuff. So, look, when you want to take yourself and ascend yourself to presidential candidate, you got to understand that what you have done, essentially, you have placed yourself on the hot seat. You hear the saying, if you can't take the heat, don't go into the kitchen. So all those questions that Dennis Shruball and Gordon Mosley would have asked Azruddin Mohammed on Monday is fair game. And nobody should be attacking the press. When you do that, you're opening the door for the PPP to attack the press. And they're already doing it already. We should refrain from that. Have our candidates ready to answer the pertinent question. That's our homework to do. You can't want not do your homework and then be mad. Look, what's at stake here, ladies and gentlemen? The presidency of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the highest seat in the land. So Gordon Mosley was 100% correct when he said you cannot bluff your way to the presidency. And yes, Miss Audrey Brown, Gordon Mosley, Travis Chase, Adam Harris, Dennis Shruball, and whenever our own the Honorable Sherrod Duncan and Christopher Jones is out there doing their media work, these guys are sharp. These guys are sharp, and at the same time, they can be objective. And that is what I like. You have to be objective. You have to be open-minded. I have seen Gordon Mosley ask Granger some tough, Comrade Granger, some tough questions. And we have seen some of the interviews that Travis Chase would have had. Travis Chase puts himself in a lot of danger to interview people. A lot of people who are on the run, they reach out to Travis. Why? Because they trust him. And they trust the work that he does. They don't reach out to Neil Marks. Right? They don't reach out to Neil Marks. They don't reach out to Newsroom, the propaganda channel. They don't reach out to NCN. That's totally controlled by the PPP. Comrade Norton, the new government, when you're getting the government, you all need to address NCN forthwith. NCN needs to be addressed. Thank you, Fidel Albert. How can I forget that? The great Enrico Woolford. Yes. The great Enrico Woolford. That's another one. Okay? We have strong media personalities, and I can't go through all the names. Right? I can't. We have a new president of the press. I think it's Miss Ifa Wharton, and I welcome her. But the outgoing Press Association leader, Nazima Ragabir, I want to thank her for a job well done. She was pressed and pressured under the PPP, but she did not budge. She held her ground, rightfully so. Thank you so much for a job well done, Miss Nazima Ragabir. Thank you. Oh, I did, Miss Audrey Brown. I did give Miss Svetlana Marshall Horflowers, I think was last week or the week before, when she had that interview with the arrogant installed president of Guyana. You know, these guys are good at what they do. I like this kind of journalism. It's good, it's strong, it is healthy for democracy. Okay? It allowed the latitude for strong messaging, strong voices of dissent. We are moving Guyana in the right direction, brothers and sisters. We need to continue to hold our heads up because this fight is not over. We have 43, 44 more days to go. Okay? This fight is not over. But it is looking very, very favorable to the opposition. But like I said to you guys, I think it's when I had Vince Roy Jordan, I think that was last week. We have to be careful that GCOM, the Guyana Elections Commission, or maybe we might need to change the name to the PPP Elections Commission, does not call the elections favorable to Irfan Ali and the PPP and send Irfan Ali to swear in and send everybody else to go and do petitions. I'm warning you guys, Claudette Singh and GCOM, I'm warning you guys, that is not going to be acceptable. Barajagdio, it is not going to be acceptable. It will not sit well with the people, I can tell you that. Because I have been warned that it will not sit well with the people. So what I'm doing, I'm just regurgitating what I was told. It will not sit well. Elections need to be free and fair in Guyana. You cannot infringe on the rights, the democratic rights of the people of Guyana by not reforming GCOM. You had 5 years to do so. I understand that GCOM was funded. I heard Miss Catherine Hughes was saying that GCOM was funded. Monies were allocated to the Guyana Elections Commission. I ask you guys, Claudette Singh, the CEO, I ask you guys, what has happened with the monies that were allocated to GCOM? And Claudette Singh, you have sat there for 5 years and received a salary. What have you done to deserve that salary that you're receiving? These are things that we need to look at. These are things that a new government need to look at. Are we getting the necessary services for our buck? Meaning, are we getting the necessary services for our money? No reforms. No new voters list. No biometrics. I didn't see Rhonda Lane tonight, but I thank Rhonda Lane. I thank Rhonda Lane. None of the parties cannot complain if GCOMs decide to pull off what I just said. You know why? Because Rhonda Lane and Kidaki Amsterdam started a movement. And I am of the belief that that movement should have grown tremendously, exponentially. That movement should have ended up shutting down Georgetown at some point. Guyanese need to start getting sensitive or sensitized to how important their vote really is. Your vote is important. Every vote is important. And again, all those Guyanese who are licking their chops and saying, oh, come September 1st, they offering 250,000 for my vote. Think about it. Just think about it. Because I talked to some young people before I came onto this program, and like I said, I was disappointed. But I still took the time to educate them. $250,000. And wait, let me pause there. That $250,000 that's going to be offered for your vote, you know what that money is coming from? The $57.7 billion that the PPP went to Parliament for just before they paroled Parliament. So you see how obvious this is, right? State funds are being used to keep the PPP in power. State funds are being used to pay US lobbying firms, while the Palms, continues to be a disaster. While the murder rate in Guyana is through the roof. While the rate of sexual assaults is through the roof. We just had one, right? Somewhere, I think in Linden, I believe it was. Where a 20-year-old girl was assaulted, and a whole lot of people just sit down and watch on. We have lost it. We have lost our marbles in Guyana. And it don't start with the people. It starts at the top with the government that is charged with the responsibility, like thank you, Audrey Brown, for charged with working with those people. No social cohesion in Guyana. No teaching of civics. Comrade Norton, you do what you got to do. When your government come in, if you want to bring back national service, you bring back national service. You do what you want to do. You do what you know is going to get this country back on track. Okay? Because how the PPP acts is like if we didn't have anything on the Forbes board now. Guyana had a lot of things on the Forbes board now. The only right thing I have here, Kit Nascimento said, is that Forbes Burnham is not a racist. And he's 100% correct. If you're a racist, why are you going to build a floating bridge? Spend so much money to have a floating bridge built so that 90-something% of Indo farmers can bring their products to market. But you're a racist. Guyanese of East Indian descent would have gained so many lands under Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, the late great Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. We had so many things that was nationalized in Guyana. The people eat well. Burnham ban flour. That's for the dunce and the dents. We had a Cold War that was going on. There were shortages in wheat. You had to find a substitute. He said rice flour. Now I understand rice flour is selling very expensive in Guyana. So why the PPP and Jagdeo continue to criticize Burnham? Jagdeo, you could never even walk in Burnham slippers. You're not even qualified to be in Burnham slippers. Burnham was a qualified lawyer, Barry Jagdeo. Unlike you, a fake Russian economist, quote unquote. I'm not going to use your... You are 23 years old. You are 23 years, Jagdeo. 23 years. A stadium. And a Barbies Bridge that was built very similar to Burnham Bridge. Except that it was built at the mouth of the Barbies River. Because you refused to put it around Stanley Town. Because I understand that it would have brought a lot of revenue there for Afro-Guyanese. So, Barry Jagdeo, you show me. And yet a lot of Afro-Guyanese go and take a little 20,000 or whatever for go and flash a picture with Jagdeo. I wouldn't even shake your hand, man. I would not even shake your hands, Jagdeo. But, brothers and sisters, we got to buckle up for September. Make sure that you register. Make sure that you're looking at the list to make sure that your name is there and family member names are there. Also, at the same time, while you look, okay, make sure that your family members who would have been deceased, that their names are not there. Make sure that their names are not there, because besides that name is going to be a checkbox for the PPP. Make sure when you go, you don't see the names of people on this program who you know that are no longer Guyanese citizens. Make sure my name is not there. Everybody's saying stay up late. Stay up late. August 31st. And people are asking why. Because people are saying they expect people from the Leprantier Cemetery to come out to cast their votes. Based on the numbers that we saw the last time from the PPP. With the amount of deceased individuals who would have voted. I mean, it's okay to have them on the list. But to have them vote and to say that they would have cast a vote, that's concerning. And these observers, they come and they accept anything that the PPP says. You all better come this time and be unbiased. You guys better be unbiased. You all better be righteous. Okay? And whatever it is that you guys do, it better be favorable to the Guyanese people. Right? Because when Canada has its elections, the United States, and all the other nations, Guyana doesn't interfere. Okay? This doesn't look good. I'll be honest. This doesn't look good. This looks like modern day colonialism. I'll call it for what I see it as. Okay? Look, we're not uneducated here. We understand what we're seeing. Okay? So for all of those people, those overseers, right, who is going to be coming for the 2025 elections, just understand that the Guyanese people are educated. They understand, they have not forgotten what has happened in 2020 because it has left a sour taste in their mouth. Okay? 5 years later, you guys come back. Please don't do the same. I don't believe it's going to be accepted this time. I encourage you not to. Okay? And Guyana is open to the world. So I'm going to say this. With the extra trainings that individuals are going to be coming down to Guyana to give to the Guyana Police Force, Guyanese are not going to be shot down because they are standing up for their rights. They feel like if GCOM would have infringed upon their rights. Okay? Freedom of speech, the right to protest, should be respected. Freedom of speech and the right to protest should be respected. Not like when Irfan Ali came and told Adriana Young aunt that they should not block the roads. No. If the people want to block all commerce across Guyana, let them do so. If you didn't want to see such an action, you would have done what is right. You cannot force people to accept a government that is oppressing them. You cannot force people to accept a government that is not working for them. You cannot force people to accept a government that is not equally distributing wealth across the country. You cannot force people to accept a government that is mismanaging their natural resources. I still cannot understand how it is that we had 3 consecutive $1 trillion budgets. I don't see the results of those budgets. But then again, Guyanese, have we not all seen why the Public Accounts Committee was not functioning the way it should have. Right? We got an announcement from Jermaine Figueroa, right? That he's endorsing Irfan Ali. It didn't surprise the people. The people were not surprised. But Jermaine Figueroa, I'll tell you this. When I look in the comments, a lot of people call you a snake. And you know what? Unfortunately, based on what I would have seen happen with the Public Accounts Committee and how that thing just froze and failed to operate to satisfy the people of Guyana by being transparent on how the PPP was spending money, just based on that, and the people calling you a snake, I'll tell you this, let me be honest. I have to agree with the people. I have to agree with the people. Jermaine Figueroa, you are officially a snake. That's what you are. Okay? You are a failure for a politician. A complete failure. Okay? You never serve the interests of the Guyanese people. Never serve the interests of the Guyanese people. You was a PPP stooge moonlighting on the side of the opposition. That's what you are. That's what you were. A PPP stooge moonlighting on the side of the opposition. I'm so glad that they got you out of there so that Comrade Norton and his team, their policies cannot be taken over into the Red Sea of devils. You know? Shame on you, Jermaine Figueroa. Shame on you. And to the many sometimes, and not certain people in Linden who attack Comrade Norton, I want to see you guys attack Jermaine Figueroa with the same type of ferocity. What a shame. Again, my choice for that job, dealing with the Public Accounts Committee, and this is only Wayne Caesar's opinion, is Nigel London. Apostle Nigel London. We need somebody there that would make sure that that quorum is showing up to all the meetings and that that work is being done. So now when the Public Accounts Committee do reconvene, they're going to be picking up from 2020 when we're going to be in late 2025. So this is a game that we're always playing from behind, right? This is something that we are always playing from behind. Why can't we ever be current with our spending? We're a nation with less than 1 million people. It's absolute nonsense why we can't be current. It just shows the level of laziness. You want to be in government, you have to be prepared to work and execute on behalf of the people. You cannot just be there for a paycheck. And these are the things that Comrade Norton and his new administration will need to manage to make sure that the Guyanese people are getting the execution, getting the services for their money, to make sure that taxpayers are getting a Guyana police force that is serving their interests and not government's interests. Guyana Power and Light. Guyana Power and Light should not be sold out to anyone else. We should not be having no contractor coming in and tell us how much light they're going to give us, when we're going to have blackouts, and all of this stuff. No. A Dominican company at that? Come on, guys. Come on. How far advanced is the Dominican Republic than Guyana? Let's make sense. That's a corrupt, on-the-hand deal right there. We want to control our electricity and power in Guyana. We have a gas to shore project. Let's get it done. Look at that thing. That thing is delayed. Gas to shore is delayed. Delay after delay. We need a new government in Guyana to make sure that these projects are done. We just can't keep having $1 trillion budgets and we're not seeing the necessary progress. Guyanese should be getting non-stop electricity in their homes. And yet you want to go and build out these big highways and commencing the opening of these big highways. And a day or two later, I see a photo on Travis Chase and Gordon Mosley. The highway is breaking up. The highway is breaking up. The Linden Highway was built what? I think some maybe 40 years ago. I don't know the exact amount of years, but it's very long. And my goodness, how did the Linden Highway lasted this long with all those heavy duty sand trucks and everything? That's what you call proper durable work. You got these little concrete strips that they're building, going through villages and stuff like that. When somebody's building a home, what they gotta do? Let a sand truck come and dump the sand 9 blocks away, and you gotta go and wheelbarrow that in. What times are we really living in? Yes, Clouds 592. Concussion Concrete Highway. And they light them highways. You see how them highways lit? The highways are lit up and people's house can't even light for 24 hours. This government jokey, you know. This government jokey. And when you talk, what happens? Their supporters get mad. You know, their supporters get mad. Why should Guyanese accept such substandards? Why? We should not. We should not. We should no longer accept substandards from no one. The new government, because I believe strongly there will be a new government come September 2nd. I expect results by September 2nd. I expect results by September 2nd. I expect results by September 2nd. The Linden Martyrs. The Linden Martyrs, could you guys believe that those families have not been paid? I think it's $70-something million those families are owed. So it happened under the PPP. We had a coalition government from 2015 to 2020. They were not paid under that coalition government. Thank you, Carlisle. Oh my God, Carlisle got me by 15 years. The Linden Highway is 55 years old, ladies and gentlemen. All right? 55 years old, the Linden Highway. Can the PPP build anything that can last for 15 years? Much less 55. You guys ought to get on your knees and thank the late, great Lyndon Forbes Samson Burnham. Okay? Thank him. Thank him. He has handed over to you guys a very, very, very good Guyana. Okay, Jagdio, you have taken it and you have damaged it. You've just conditioned the people so badly. Everybody got to be a hustler in Guyana. You know? Sometimes people are scared to deal with Guyanese because they're just scared that they're going to be hustled by Jagdio. That's how you got our people. The young youths, You come and you're talking sense to them, and they're turning their backs on you because you guys have conditioned them. But I tell you guys, all of you here, brothers and sisters, it's our duty to continue to work on our young people. We cannot allow someone the nature of Barajagdio, you understand me, to take our young people and continue to poison their futures. Okay? We need them to be strong. We need to see a strong Guyana in the future. Not the day that Barajagdio decides to close his eyes. That's the end of Guyana. No. Guyana must continue to be a strong nation way after Barajagdio, you, I, and everyone else. All right? It must continue. Barajagdio must not be the person who, by the stroke of his pen, is going to decide the fate of Guyanese. No, there's no one man that's going to control the narrative. And this is also, not in a bad way, but this is also a message to Aubrey C. Norton. No one man could change Guyana, ladies and gentlemen. No one man. It's going to take a collective of people and every Guyanese citizen working together with a vision of nation building, okay, to change the posture, to change the narrative of the cooperative Republic of Guyana. Every single citizen matters to bring along the necessary change that Guyana needs. Okay? We are not a gun carrying nation. Okay? No. This is not normal. This is not normal. Dagi got gun. Guyanese critic got gun. Everybody got gun. That means that these people could come and try to slap you and all kind of thing, and you can't do nothing to them because they got a gun. How is that fair? Let's get back to fair game, man. Let's get back to fair game. I used to like back in the 80s, right? Your gun was these two hands. That's the real deal. Not everybody walking around with gun, and if somebody talk, you shoot them and kill them, and that's it. We don't want that. Barajagdio, you could continue to have your 20 armed security guarding you because that's what you need. If you was a good leader, sir, you would not need more than 2. If you was a good leader, you would not need more than 2 security walking with you because you didn't have to be afraid of anything. Your citizens love you. But look at you. Look at you. That's why when your motorcade was passing, the young man stick up his middle finger. How can I give him wrong? You're a failure of a leader. You're a failure. Your attorney general is dunce. Yes, I'm getting like that this evening. The attorney general is the worst in the history of Guyana. I have spoken with other top level attorneys, and they have agreed with me. Very top level attorneys have agreed with me that Anil Nandalal is garbage. Anil Nandalal is garbage. Vikram Bharat has no right controlling oil and gas. Let's get back our oil and gas into the hands of Dr. Vincent Adams so we can see some real progress. Vikram who? Vikram who? Over this 5 years, y'all have put Guyana 10 years behind, 10 more years behind. Young Vince Roy Jordan, a young former MP with a strong vision who was here with me. That should be the man. That is man in the Ministry of Agriculture. That is the man. He will make sure that Guyana has food security, strong food security, real food security, not outside in the world when they do their tests, they come back and say, yes, Guyana has very strong food security. I'm not saying that they're lying. What I am saying is that food security is not trickling down to the normal everyday Guyanese. And that's where Vince Roy Jordan, the Honorable Vince Roy Jordan, is going to come in handy. And he's a strong advocate for young people. The young people on the ground loves him. So he can hit two birds with one stone right there. Now, when it comes to education, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy. Because I feel like if education is going to fall in a very, very good place, right? I'm not going to announce who is going to be responsible for education. I do have an idea. But what I can tell you is that education is going to be in a very, very, very good place. And a nation is as strong as its people. And when you want to talk about having a strong people, an educated people is a strong people. Okay? Barajagdio, an educated people is a strong people. Not the ones that you would have taken away free university from for decades. And uneducated people is an easy people to control. And that is why when the gentleman from APNU was speaking to those young people, it wasn't easy. And I'm not calling those young men dunce. But what I'm saying, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. Okay, because what Barajagdioff conditioned the Guyanese people to do is to just want to see money. Well, money is something that you have to work for. You have to work very hard for it. Okay? And if you want to work for a lot of money, you have to really educate yourself. Or you have to own your own business and do well. Have a strong functioning business to bring in large amounts of money. Right? That means it's going to take some sleepless nights. Hey, and look, to the incoming government, in order to get Guyana right, you're going to have some late nights. You're going to have some sleepless nights. You can't be saying turn-in time is 9 o'clock. No, you got to be up doing your due diligence. All right? You got to be up because listen, however we twist it and turn it, ladies and gentlemen, when you have a new government in place, there is going to be a timeline for that government. Okay? The Guyanese people are going to expect to see a measure of progress. And that's one of the reasons that I'm going to be staying around. Just to guide the people that, you may need to relax a little bit because getting a government started, okay, kickstarting a government, a new government coming in and kickstarting, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. But the new government, if not in their first 100 days, in their first year, please try to get the Linden Martyrs, get those families paid. Okay? We're an oil-producing nation. These payments should not be outstanding. And to the extent the Quinnumbacus family were not paid, let's get that done also. Clifton Hicken, I don't expect him to be anywhere close to the Guyana Police Force. He should be fired forthwith. Like as soon as Comrade Norton is sworn in, the first thing fire the Commissioner of Police. That should be the first thing. And have a new one ready to be sworn in. The courts is another thing. The courts is another thing. Chief Magistrate Faith Mogosti have been sitting there and acting for some time now. She has been sitting there and acting for some time now. Now you hear that they want to replace her with Judy Larchman. Judy Larchman, you're questionable, man. You're questionable. Your behavior, your decisions are despicable. Okay? You're going to be chief magistrate under a PPP-led regime. But there's no way a new government is going to allow you to be chief magistrate. Why can't Faith Mogosti, who has been acting in the position for some time, be appointed permanent? Because she's a Guyanese of African descent? And many wants to sit down and talk and say that the PPP is not racist in nature. Look at Bishop Edghill. Bishop Edghill, it serves you right. Both of your sons was taken off the PPP list. You want to cry foul? Don't cry foul. Go and sit in your corner. Go and sit down. It serves you right. It shows you your standings in the PPPC. Yeah. Yeah, you and the one James Bond. I hope he took care of all that white stuff he got at the corner of his mouth. I hope so. I hope that white stuff at the corner of his mouth is not from the amount of soup that he would have drunk thus far. You guys are going to find out. You guys think you're going to be in the upper echelon of the PPP? Brother Daniel Siram, what position you think they're going to give you on the side of the PPP? Jermaine Figueroa, what position are you going to have on the side of the PPP? To go there in the hot sun and campaign like your fellow brother James Bond has to do. He campaigning, the tone of his skin must he change like 3 times in the sun. That's what the PPP does. That's what they do. Okay? That's what they do. So you guys keep running over there. Keep running over there. I want to say one more thing. A lot of you complained about Comrade Norton. Oh, it wasn't good under Comrade Norton's leadership and all of this stuff. Well, I want you guys to, not even them, you guys right here on the program. Let's analyze where everybody have went and tell me what impact they're having. I do not see no standout impact. The people who went to win, I don't see them. I don't see them. Where are they? I don't see the impact. Because if you got parliamentary experience, that party should have already had a manifesto. You have people in there that is just coming out of parliament. What are you going to do? Present a manifesto to the Guyanese people at the 24th hour? Let's be serious, guys. Wanting to be president of Guyana is not a game. It's a very serious thing. That's why many times you see Comrade Norton serious and people say, oh, he can't crack a smile. Well, sometimes he has to be that way because this is serious business. And he understands that, hey, he's on the hot spot right now. He is in the kitchen right now. And once he ascends to the seat of president, he's sitting in the highest seat in the land. Okay? So, let's stay focused. Let's focus on the pressing issues. Okay? Poverty. Okay? Lack of justice. The level of violence in Guyana. Education. I give you 4 strong things there. All right? And I said it on Straight Up last night with Mark Benchka, that when it comes to policy, APNU has their I's dotted and their T's crossed. Okay? And my favorite policy, you guys know, is rent to own. Because where does rent to own take where does rent to own takes me? It takes me straight to poverty. All right? Your largest expenditure when the month come is your rent slash mortgage, whichever one it is that you have. And if we can put rent to own in place, if we can strengthen our education systems, if we can be strong with job creation, Guyana will evolve to the point, ladies and gentlemen, where we just would not have rich and poor, but we will have an established middle class, a strong middle class. When you want to talk about a strong economy must have a strong middle class. Okay? People can call you the fastest growing economy, but if you have no middle class, it paints a questionable picture of how good a measure is it when you talk about being the fastest growing economy. How strong is your measure? How accurate is it? But the policies that I see from the opposition can once again bring back a middle class to Guyana. All right? And also, that new government should make sure that they continue to keep GPL and GWI nationalized, where they are controlling it. We don't need to privatize those agencies. Because this is one thing. Guyanese, okay, in this oil economy should be guaranteed clean water. Okay? Guyanese in this oil economy should be guaranteed 24/7 electricity. Guyanese in this oil economy should be guaranteed great upper level health care. Not like that little baby, that little 21, 22-year-old baby that died at the Diamond Hospital for the lack of oxygen. Really? Just because she died because she had asthma and they didn't have oxygen for her? That hurts my heart. That hurts my heart. And Barry Jack, there you can sit there and you can talk about doggy. I have nothing to say about doggy. Not a thing. Okay? My business is the Guyanese people. My business is the suffering Guyanese people, where 53% of them is suffering when it comes to poverty. Okay? That's the focus. And the ultimate focus, having the PPP voted out. Seeing the back of Barry Jagdeo once and for all. And there should be an order in place right away that none of the politicians on the side of the PPP should be allowed to leave Guyana until they're properly investigated. Okay? The Public Accounts Committee, Mr. Norton, needs to get that up and running forthwith. And they should work overtime for the first year. Okay? They should work overtime for the first year because the Public Accounts Committee need to catch up and get those five years under the PPP in the books so that we can actually see from a forensic level what has happened with the Guyanese people money. You guys have to understand, you are not dealing with your own money. You are dealing with the money of the Guyanese people. And they have a right to that level or that measure of transparency where government is letting them know how they're allocating and spending their monies. Audrey Brown, you are correct. If you're going to manage a country across the board evenly, I do not believe there is a need for an ERC. I believe that the ERC should be decommissioned immediately. And the issues that the ERC picks up should be picked up by some agency along with the courts. We don't have time to waste money. That day was a total waste of money. That was a big joke. Okay? The ERC was a big joke. Bias in favor. It was a PPP agency that was created to shut down voices of dissent. But they were unable to be effective because we weren't hearing it. Oh, and they don't play around with me at all. I've been begging them. I've just been begging them. I think it's Roshan Khan that leads the ERC. I think it's Roshan Khan that leads the ERC. I believe so. They're smart. They're a smart group. They know which limbs to jump on. But that should be decommissioned. We don't need an ERC. We need to have strong reforms with the Guyana Elections Commission. I feel like after this 2025 elections, Claudette Singh should announce her resignation forthwith. She was a disaster. She was a total failure to the Guyanese people. Like I said, every case that Claudette Singh would have presided over, I would like them to take a look at those cases. I believe she's a very disingenuous person. Okay, she didn't just turn like this. She was always like this. Okay, sometimes it takes a certain situation for people to show their true colors. And I believe this situation with GCOM, this position at GCOM, we have seen the true colors of Justice Claudette Singh. She's a total failure to the Guyanese people and should not be sitting at GCOM after these elections. Go and sit in your corner. You've made enough money. Hand it over to someone else. There's a time that people like you, Claudette Singh, just need to go and sit down. Just go sit down. Go on some vacations. Do something. Rather than sit down there, hold a position of power and voting all the time with the PPP commissioners. Okay? The PPP disingenuous commissioners. Who are they? Clement Roy, says Gunraj, and somebody else. I don't even know who the other one is. If you guys remember the name, you could push it up there for me. Okay, but those commissioners, they only see PPP. And that's the thing. They're not objective. All right? They are not objective. Another thing, the prison system. Let's reform the prison system, man. Let's reform the prison system. Let's go through the prison system and see, those young men who are in jail for years for possession of small amounts of marijuana and these kind of things. You can rehabilitate those guys and blend them back into society nicely. Take the time and rehabilitate them. We need strong men of character on the ground in Guyana to speak to our young people. Again, strong men of character. I'm not talking about the Anil Nandalals and the States Gunraj and these guys and the Sanjeev Dattadina. These guys have no character. None. Character, man. Character. Come on, guys. Integrity. Moral values. Okay? You must lack racism. You must have an unbiased, open mind. Like I do. Yeah, look at me. Unbiased. All 6 ethnic groups in Guyana must benefit from the oil wealth. Must progress in life. There must be prosperity for all Guyanese across the board. Not Guyanese of East Indian descent being superior to everybody else. Where did that come from? The indigenous and the African people were the people that inhabited Guyana first. They were there first. The Africans was brought there as slaves via the transatlantic slave trade. And I say to all of you out there, all of you, I'm talking about particularly the external forces. Don't be intimidated by Comrade Norton because he looks to be West African. Don't worry. This is not a case of any revenge. We are here to move Guyana forward for all 6 ethnic groups. Okay? Because through the veins of Comrade Norton runs the trauma of whippings and lynchings that his ancestors would have received. Okay? So when you talk about Guyanese of African descent, we are just number one, happy to be freed. Okay? Happy for once in our life to be able to call our old shots, to be able to till our soil without being beaten to till our soil, to be able to till our soil, and the benefits that we reap from that soil belongs to us. So people, PPP, don't bring your nonsense. Okay? External forces, come good. Please come good. All of you are going to be doing your oversight at the 2025. Come with some Guyanese history, please. Know your Guyanese history. Know what would have occurred after you left here in 2020. Okay? Where GCOM putting no reforms in place to improve the electoral apparatus. Let it be known that we are using a bloated list that probably have a list of names that is larger than our current population. All right? I know you guys understand what that means. I don't have to explain that to you. That should be self-explanatory. Okay? Brothers and sisters, it is 8:55 p.m. on the US side, and I'm sure it is the same in Guyana. I want to thank you guys for staying focused, staying engaged for 2 hours with me. Okay? It just shows the high quality of patience that you guys have. And there's one thing I have to say with you guys as an audience. You guys are very smart and intellectual. And that is what I love about this program. When we come and we have these discussions, it's a two-way discussion. Okay? It's a two-way discussion. Thank you, Miss Hazel Johnson. Yes, I am passionate about Guyana. I am passionate about my brothers and sisters in Guyana because I love them all. It doesn't matter what ethnic group they come from. We are all human beings before we can start defining ourselves and start allotting ourselves as to what ethnic group we belongs to. We are first human beings, and we must demonstrate that innate love one for another and stop stabbing up each other, gunning down each other, men raping women, sexual assaults up through the roof, vehicular accidents. Come on, slow this thing down. This is Guyana. Where has our values gone? Come on, guys. Let's get back to some basics. Okay? Let's get back to some basics. We are a nation of less than 1 million people. There is just too many deaths in a week in Guyana. Let's have some people die at 100, 102, 96, 95. Let's have old age deaths. That's fine. They would have lived a full life. 30 does not need to be. 25 does not need to be the lifespan of our people in Guyana. Until next Saturday, there is a chance I will be on at some point during the week on the Straight Up program. But until next Saturday, I want to tell all of you guys that I love you, love you, love you so much. Take care of yourself. Over to you. Good night.